Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk by George. In today's session of Open Ed, we are going to discuss a sensitive topic. Recently, we are all aware of a documentary that was published by BBC. And the documentary came out. It created a shockwave in the Indian politics, and many were discussing about it. Now things have changed. After the documentary being published, now the government has started a kind of investigation, a raid in the BBC offices. So what does this mean? I mean, in a normal sense, it is good to have raids if there was something wrong. But here, it is not that case. Here, something has been spoken or somebody has said something that was not in favor of the government, and they started to conducting raid, and things are not looking good now. Now let us examine this into two different dimensions. Number one is about the Western media. I just want to share some views from my mind about the Western media. The Western media always tries to portray India as poor and dirty. If you take any news that's been published by the Western media, you can see that they will shoot in front of some slums, or they will actually try to create. They won't go to Bangalore, or they don't want to go to Gurugram, or they don't want to show the positive side of India. They just want to show the negative side, that they just want to picture India as dirty as much as possible. So this is something the Western media always try to do. Now my second view is about the Western media, about our government. See, why are we curious about something that has been published? I do totally agree with the fact that India took over the G20 presidency. Once it had taken over the G20 presidency, immediately this documentary came out. So there is no justification about that. I do agree, or I do accept the fact that okay, there had been some foul plays from the BBC side by publishing this documentary at this point of time. I do totally agree with that. See, after the documentary, or once the documentary had been aired, it had been blocked in India. They said you cannot broadcast this documentary in India. Not only that, the government, the ministry has blocked those tweets. I mean, social medias or social media platforms where the discussion of these documentaries had been taken place. As an example, you won't be able to post clippings of the documentary. If you post the clippings of the documentary, definitely you will get, that post will get banned, or that post will be removed. My question here is, what kind of governance is happening in India right now? We are not under dictatorship. And when I hear such news, I feel like I had been ruled over by dictators. Normally, these are the people who does these sort of things. And somebody has filed a case in the Supreme Court telling that this is harming India. And Supreme Court asked, hey, how this is going to harm India? Because everybody, every Indian knows the truth about Gujarat Riot. And we don't need BBC or to talk about it and to convince Indians that okay, this is done by this person. We already know the truth, and we are well aware about the truth. I do totally agree with the government that see, the Western media always take advantage of India, or always want to portray India as negative as much as possible. They want to talk anything good about India. I'm not talking about one or two channel. I'm talking about the complete Western media. because they don't want to show the good things that is happening in India. They just want to portray India into a negative image. But on the other hand side, what the government is trying to do is, the government is trying to trying to be kid. Normally kids do these sort of things. They go to school, they get beaten up by somebody, and they start complaining, they start mourning, they start to pinch them back. So the same kind of kid level activity has been done by our government. I'm not talking if BBC did something wrong in terms of their accounting practices. See, it is completely okay if there had been some manipulation, or if there had been some issues regarding the accounting. Of course, that need to be rectified. But my question is, BBC existed in India for a very long time, and why are you conducting this stupid raid right now? What is the point in that? They had been here for very long time, and if BBC India didn't follow the accounting principles or accounting rules of India, why this was not being raised up earlier? Why remedial measures lagged till this much, or lagged till this time? Or why the authorities failed to dictate this issue until this time? What was the point in that? And this is not something good for a government to do. You must always entertain criticism. Otherwise, there won't be any good governance. See, if nobody is actually pointing out your flaws, your faults, how are you gonna rule? How are you gonna rule? This is my question. How are you gonna rule? So my editorial, I just want to tell you that it is okay on one side, but it is not completely okay on the other hand side. And the Western media always pinches India. It always want to show India as a negative country, and they don't want to show anything good about the country. That is a fact. But on the other hand side, if you are actually trying to play the same game as of the Western media, then what is the point? You must challenge them. You should not have put restrictions on broadcasting this documentary. You must you must have let them broadcast the documentary. Let the people see. Now what exactly had happened is, people now know that okay, there is something wrong and this is not right. So you are just leaving a couple of questions on the people's mind. See, by boycotting or by putting a ban on the broadcasting of that particular documentary, you are actually convincing people that you have done something wrong. My editorial is going to end here with the two questions. First one is, should we restrict Western media? And second one is, what exactly, how does our government do? What exactly are they doing? Is this a part of good governance? This is something that you must think when you go to the poll booths for 2024 elections. Once again, thank you for watching Let's Talk by George, and please do subscribe to our channel. Thank you.